Little black book, you know what time it is. 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 Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book, baby. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for the notification of the uploads, baby. And for those of you returnees, you ain't got the minerals. You ain't got the minerals. Hey guys, I want to talk to you guys about the Jhus situation where he tweeted something a bit mad. So we're gonna get into the video. I'm gonna break it all the way freaking down. And yeah, I hope you like, share, subscribe, like I always say. Alright, cool. I've got my little notes here today, so I don't even have a thing. So I'm gonna read out what he tweeted, and then we're gonna break it down, right? He said, my next girlfriend is gonna have to understand that I like to go AWOL sometimes. You might not be able to reach me for like 2 weeks, but I always come back. Now, the replies underneath this tweet let us know what tone everybody took it in, yeah? My first thing I'm going to say though is this. If you're a woman and you feel like you can handle this, Abi, take it. That's you, yeah? And there will always be women who feel like they can take that, but the actual hope is that you can't. It's not that you're not even that you can't. You don't want to. You are going to try and hope to change him with the fact that you spend time with him, right? But let's just say you can. So that's point number one. If you read it in the tone of that you are able to take it, then there's no problem here, right? But I'm going to break down some things here because there's a lot of hidden messages within this particular thing that is scary, all right? I want to break down the first thing. Like I said, it's called D.T.S, which means distance, time, speed. Look. The distance here, it says my next girlfriend's going to have to understand that I like to go AWOL sometimes. You might not be able to what? Reach me. This reach is distance. Now it says for like 2 weeks, that's time. But I always come back. That equals speed, meaning this. Distance divided by time equals speed that you should not engage in this particular situation. That's it. Yeah? Just a little banter there. Yeah, don't enter it. The speed that you should run away from him is incredible. The distance divided by time, run. Run. And here's why you should run. P-E-W. You know what I'm saying? Pew! You know I like my thing now. Position, expectation, want. Now here's the thing. The position of him is that he's going to go AWOL for like 2 weeks. Yeah? And the expectation that he wants from a woman is that they understand that he may not be able to be reached for 2 weeks. Now, the question is, what is your want, woman? If you want to have a man that will be away for 2 weeks, that is not for anything specifically of a necessity, because there are women out here who are without their men and contact without their men for weeks, months on end. Things like army and stuff like that, they can end up not talking for a long while if they're on crusade or on a mission, whatever, right? So that can happen, but that's out of necessity. But he's saying, no, if I go AWOL, you know what I'm saying? Absent without what? Leave. Meaning that he's not saying anything to you. That's what AWOL means. It means I go without telling you. I just go off the blankers. I didn't get permission. I just went. So again, I'm going to ask you, ladies, is this the type of guy that you really want? Is this the type of guy that you should really enter a relationship with? I know some people said, obviously, you know, there'll be a woman that will do the same thing to him. But is that what she really wants to do? That's the question. Is that what she really wants to do? Or she's hoping that when she does that, he will change? Alright, cool. So, I'm going to put this disclaimer here as well. Don't blame anybody if you get it with Jhus and he does what he said he was going to do. You understand? Man's word is what? Law. Man's word is what? Law. When we say it, take our word for it. When we say it, take our word for it. Because all the likely, 98% of the time, that's what we mean. You understand? Take our word for it. Man's word is what? Law. And so relationships are hidden, invisible contracts. Yeah? If you haven't married, these relationships are hidden contracts. There are verbal contracts. There are lines that we can and can't cross that are expected, that are not necessarily spoken of, but are expected out of. Yeah? So if you feel like you can deal with the situation, he's outlined it for you, then you go ahead. But let's break down some things here. Here's the thing. Point number one, problems with women in regards to is that women oftentimes will feel like they can change an individual. They will feel like they got the magic that breaks the yoke. But the Bible says it's the anointing that breaks the yoke, not the magic. So listen, if you think you got the magic poussoir that's going to change him, it ain't. If you think you got the magic face that's going to change him, it ain't. If you think you got the magic body, it ain't going to change him, right? Get it out of your head that you can change this individual. And why would you want to change him? He should be of a certain way before you got there anyway, right? And men make adjustments according to what they feel like. So if you don't feel like changing, regardless of whatever you do, it ain't changing. Point number 2. Yes, men have met women and changed. But I want to let you know, when they met those women, they were in the process, in a mindset to change. Right? Or something dramatic happens that's traumatic that shakes an individual out of it. But this is not guaranteed to make the man change. So get that out of your head. Let's say, because women sometimes think that I'm going to be the one that's going to be the one that's going to change him. And I'm going to say this, look, you don't know if you're going to be the one. Listen, Adam went through all the animals before he got to Eve, Adam went through all the animals and there was no suitable what? Helper found. You do not want to become one of those animals that he goes past. Right? It's an analogy. It doesn't mean you're actually an animal. It means you don't want to be part of the cycle. You don't know if you're going to be part of the numbers that he's racking up. Yeah? Of the attempts he wants to make without actually fixing some of the detrimental things that are within him. You don't know if you're going to become that number. And then you have to think about the consequences. Let's say you are that number. What is the detriment to you? What? For a little bit of fame? For a little bit of status? For a little bit of power? You know what I'm saying? And we're going to deal with that because there's a biological response. That's the reason why you're reacting. And then there's another thing which is called big fish theory, right? It means the bigger the hope, the bigger the risk we're willing to take. The bigger the reward that we can get of it, the bigger the risk we're willing to take. If we think there's an opportunity and a chance to get this big fish, right? We're happy to take the chance because potentially we're going to end up with what? Big fish. Now, is Jhus a big fish? He's a big fish because he has money, he has wealth, he has status, he has power, and that all equals what? Security. And as a woman, one of the keyest things is that you want what? Security from the situation. You want to feel secure. And when you feel secure, you feel happy, right? To an extent. So this catching a big fish is for more of your security in the long run that you're feeling, right? That's why some of those thoughts come to you. But there's another part that also comes in. God says he's a jealous God. Yeah? And he says, male and female, I created them. In my what? Image. So if you want to look at it from one aspect, from us looking to him, he has a male and a female side. Obviously from him looking to us, there's no male or female side, it's just God. You understand? But from us looking to him, there's a male and a female side of God. The female side of God enjoys the words, the worship. He enjoys when we lift him up, yeah? And the male side loves when we are obedient to his word, right? Because that's how men are often. Men like respect and the obedience and the submission from the woman. Women like it when they're worshipped and glorified by their man and just uplifted, right? And the same with God, right? He loves when we worship him. We uplift him with words. So women love to be what? Worshipped. They like to be glorified. And one of the things that happen is that a woman will try to change Jhus so that she can have what? Bragging rights. So she can be what? Worshipped. Bow down, bees. This is what I did. You understand? I caught the big fish. The trouble is, oftentimes they don't catch nothing but a stonewalled case of pain. You understand? So I just wanted to just kind of break that down for you guys and deal with it, right? But I wanted just to focus on the actual text of what he wrote, right? And then we're going to go into the psychology of how this Awol behavior is actually almost on a form of abusive. All right, cool. So let's break it down. Jhus says, my next girlfriend, so the person he's going to enter a relationship with, is going to have to understand. That statement there, I want to let you know, is a declarative, demanding, and a dictative construction of a sentence. Okay? Just to let you know. Is going to have to understand that this is use of personal pronoun now. I like to go what? Awol. That's absent without leave, without telling you. I like to do these things. And you're going to have to understand. Okay? So I'm now giving you an instruction. I'm giving you a declarative. I'm giving you a demand. I'm telling you, hey, I'm going to go Awol and you have to understand. You understand? Cool. You might not be able to reach me, right? This is behavior of distancing, right? This is we call being unable to attach yourself to somebody because of certain reasons, and we're going to go into that. You may never to reach me for like 2 weeks, but I always come back. Okay. Now, this always come back to is also an idea and an ideology that is so false, but it's so prevalent in our media. And we see it, and we see it within our communities as well. That's your man, so long as he comes back to me, that's my man. We're hoping for a little glimmer of light. The fact that this man is a trash bag. And I'm not saying Jhus is a trash bag. I'm saying men in general, when they do mad things, they're trash bags. And when they come back, it's like, oh, because it saves you from actually dealing with what you're feeling, right? Which is pain. So you say, oh, look, do you know what? I'm going to make myself numb by saying, okay, at least he comes home to me. Yeah? That's like a silver lining. There's no silver lining here. If he's moving mad, this is not silver lining. Yeah? What does he need to do for 2 weeks that he doesn't need you to be around him? Just ask that question. And we'll talk about this, about the abusive section, is that if it can't be replied, if it says here, look, you might not be able to reach me, but can he reach you? Because that then becomes a form of control. If I can reach you, but you can't reach me, I'm not allowing you to get close. I can get close whenever I feel like. That's a form of control. And ends up being abusive. But hey, focusing again about that thing. As long as I always come back, it is a glorified statement that we often see in our community as to, at least he comes home, that's your man. No, he's not. He's for the streets. You understand? He for the what? Streets. And that's what I always say, what's my motto? Think before you do. Don't do before you think. You understand? Because you're going to be doing something you're going to be thinking about later on. Whoo! Chalet, that's a bar, lad. You understand? Alright, cool. So the reason why I brought that down is that in conversations we have what we call 5 Ds. Yeah. When you're trying to have a conversation with somebody or trying to get across communication to somebody, that thing that's called 5 Ds. So there are 5 Ds when it comes to conversation. There's dictating, there's debate, there's discussion, there's deliberation, and there's dialogue. Now, just to break it down quickly for you, dictating is always telling someone what to do. Yeah. Debate is arguing with zero sum, like arguing between us two, and there's a third party often involved. Discussion is an open conversation. I'm allowing you to discuss your point. I'm discussing my point. We're doing it in a very friendly way. Saying, oh, this is good. You like this? I like that. Okay, cool, cool. Not necessarily there's an antagonism between two people. Then there's deliberation, which is joint decision making. Yeah, there's a decision we need to make. Where do we want to move to in the country of UK? I like Manchester. You like think, okay, cool. Let's just do this. Okay, cool. Let's agree to do Manchester. All right, boy. And then there's dialogue, exploring one another. All right, and that means just having a conversation where we're getting to know each other. We're getting to know things about each other. And you know, we're understanding the why you are the way you are, why you think like this, why you do what you do, etc., etc. Right? Cool. So in the conversation, and the thing what I just read to you, when he says I'll read it again. Which particular D do you think is hitting? I already told you what it is, but which D's are hitting? Because it ain't hitting the other 4. You know, my next little girlfriend is going to have to understand. That lets you know, listen, and a part of the dictatorship, all right, or dictating conversations is this. There is always a need for no longer thinking about the other person's feelings. In a dictating conversation, it is not about the other person's feelings. It is about your feelings and how you feel. You're not bothered about how they feel, so long as you get across what you feel. For instance, give me the soul. Now, you don't care how you said it. You don't care what they're thinking, feeling, what's going on right now. You just want it done, right? So you instruct the person, give it to me. And the person is left with pretty much no chance because you're ordering the person. Do you understand? Now, if dictator conversations are all about how you feel and all about what you want, is that in accordance to love? Is that in accordance to a loving relationship? Is that in accordance to what someone who says they love you and care about you really would do? That's a question, right? Because now he's using demanding language and instructional language, right? So here's the thing. And this is very important because it matches what the Awol thing comes up with as well, right? So in 1 Corinthians 13, we're going to talk about it. It says, I'm going to read from NLT. It says, love doesn't demand its own way. When you read AMP, it says, love isn't self-seeking. AMPC says, does not insist on its own way, on its own rights, or its own way, for it's not self-seeking, right? So it doesn't insist on its own way, on its own right, for it's self-seeking, right? And that comment that he made about the fact that, listen, my next girlfriend is gonna have to understand that I like to go AWOL, right? Is that a statement that shows that somebody is thinking about you? That's the question we have to ask ourselves. Because that doesn't sound like it. That doesn't sound like it to you, does it? Cool. So now, breaking down the psychology of this thing, right? The reason why people go AWOL or want to even go off the grid with you whilst in a relationship with you is there can be attachment and abandonment issues. And, you know, when these abandonment issues and attachment issues, if you've read about attachment types, there's, there's what's the particular types? There's 4 of them, isn't it? So there's avoidant, there's dismissive, there's avoidant, dismissive, and then there's which one was the one that you just basically content, basically you're good, you have good relationships, whatever, right? And we all have our own attachment issues. Now, within that attachment issue, right, there can be a need for control and power, and this can quickly lead into narcissism, where the person is only concerned about them and themselves, them and their image, them and their mirror, them and them how they look, right? And they might not be concerned with you. Here's what we're going to talk about. Relationships, remember, are mutual, consensual agreements between 2 parties, right? They don't necessarily they don't have to be written, but they can be verbal, right? So I'm going to read something. Ephesians 5 verse 28 to 29 says, "Husbands, love your wives as you love your body. For a man who loves his wife actually shows love for himself." So if you do anything, right, yeah, you have to think to yourself, would I like this to be done to me? If I wouldn't like it to be done to me, then I'm not showing love. Because I wouldn't do something to my body the body that I love. So I wouldn't do it to you. Because if I love you like the extension of my body, why am I doing that to you? Do you see? Unless I really don't love myself. And then if I don't love myself, I'm broken. Because we should all have love for ourselves. Because it's you. So if you don't love yourself, there's a brokenness there and there's a trauma there that's not allowing you to what? Love yourself. Right? Cool. So, here's the thing. You know, this particular thing where you said you may not be able to reach me, it's a form of silent treatment. It's a passive-aggressive thing that oftentimes people who are estranged, who struggle with attachment, who are narcissists will use as a way of disempowering you. What does that mean? It means that because, you see, when we love somebody, yeah, we have to make ourselves vulnerable, right? We say we love the person, we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we open ourselves up to different parts of ourselves, mental, experiential, physical, sexual, there's spiritual, what did I even say, whatever, mental as well, right? So many different factors, financial as well. As we open ourselves up, as 2 are becoming one, as the Bible says, we're actually allowing ourselves to be weak in some area or some shape or some form. Why? Because the moment I love you, I'm subjected to my emotions towards you. Now, because I'm subjected to my emotions towards you, there's a fear that can come that what? You could leave me and I could be what? Hurt again, right? Or there's a fear that also even me, I won't be able to keep up these feelings because I've never been able to do it before previously, right? There's so many different things that can go through the mind of the individual, but oftentimes what we're saying is that we're scared to be attached to that individual. And so we do things in order to disempower you and to empower me to be in a position where I have control over the construct, which is our relationship. So now when I go off for 2 weeks, what I'm actually doing is causing separation and distancing between us 2. And what that does is what we see here. It can be a form of punishment, control, and disempowerment, but also what it does is that it makes a person feel powerless, invisible, intimidated, insignificant, unable to set up a rhythm in life because you come and go, guilty, frustrated, angry, hurt. They feel all these emotions, right? And because you take them on this roller coaster effect, if they themselves are not secure in the love they have for themselves, and they have to make you unsecure, so that they can feel secure. You understand? I'm secure when you're on rocky ground. Do you understand? When you're not sure 100% where you are with me, it makes me feel comfortable. I keep your arms length at arm's bay. Do you know what I'm saying? Because then I can regulate how I feel towards you at any given time. Power and control. So, you know, I want to let you know as well, listen, a lot of this is self-protection. It's self-protection. It's a self-defense mechanism to, you know, allow you to be able to have control over proceedings because you felt like you've lost control in the past. The mad thing is that, listen, in this situation, you just need someone to just You need someone like Jhus, if this is a situation, to go for therapy. And you have enough money to do it, to go for therapy. Because it's a very selfish, vindictive, nasty and evil thing to do. To drag somebody into that situation, and that expectation, or that they expected to be in a relationship where they were, you know, congruent with you, where they were to be unified with you. And if you continue that, you know, that's something that is not going to be, you know, that's not going to be something that's beneficial, fair, productive to your relationship. Do you know what I mean? But I make this disclaimer again. Women, if you're going to go for this guy and you're happy with going for 2 weeks, I don't want to hear complaints when you're not happy again. Do you understand? Don't let the money and the fame and the status fool you. Listen, let me tell you this as well. His bar, which is that I'm an ugly nigga making sexy money. Yeah? Let me tell you this now. Money doesn't change your inside. It doesn't change how you feel about you. It may give you a little bit of confidence, but when you're alone, you still have to do the work on your mindset. I may have this physique, but if you know anything about the mindset of an individual, they still are. We can't necessarily fully get away from our past and how we've been treated and how we see ourselves per se. We can get a bit more confidence. We can be more confident. But there are still lingerings of our past. And maybe there's some lingerings, Jhus, of some people not taking you seriously or even investing in you. Maybe the opposite sex weren't really there for you like that in the past. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe it's a parental thing. The parents weren't really, you know, showing you love and affection, and you don't know how to do that yourself. So you say, I got to keep the distance. Maybe you've been abandoned when you're younger. Regardless of what it is, all we know is that at the end of the day, you know, we want to be able to have productive relationships which are going to help us grow. So I want to just conclude this, guys. Listen, the 5 Ds, yeah? There's dictator, there's discussion, there's debate, there's dialogue, you know, and there's deliberation. And you always want to be in a place where there's dialogue, where there's open-ended conversations, where I'm getting to know you. You always want to be able to have a discussion and have also, you know, deliberation where we joint come to a conclusive stance, etc., etc. We want these things because these help promote healthy relationships. So guys, you know, I left with a black one, came back with a white one. I appreciate you guys. Stay blocked, stay loaded. You know what it is. Switch. Hey, remember, think before you do. Don't just do before you think. Otherwise you'll be doing thinking.